Alright, we have a fun little Mathmech deck profile for you guys today from Gary, who's been playing and testing around with this for the last couple of months for the Zodiac tournament, messing around with it, just really in general for the casual audience to see. So, if you are looking to pick up Mathmechs, pay attention to your pre-sale prices. This guy is going to bamboozle you really hard, and if you're one of those players that's like, yeah, I really want to pick the deck up, but I don't have Signet Minings, you're not going to have a good time trying to play this deck. This card is essentially a staple in this, and looking at the way that Gary's constructed the deck here, I do definitely agree. You are going to need this, and you are going to need responsive cards like Infinite Impermanence to even be able to play this deck. So we're going to go through here. We're going to talk about the card effects, what these cards are bringing to the deck, and honestly, what you as a Mathmech player can be expecting out of this deck. So first thing we're going to talk about here, well, first up, Gary, thank you for sending this to me. It means a lot that you actually trusted me enough to share this information and that the community gets a chance to see this deck. So, we are playing 4 Kaijus, 2 Gamma Seal, 2 copies of Kumamungus. This is going to enable us to give our opponent monsters that we're going to be able to battle over and put ourselves in a better position, just outing general threats that our opponent is putting on the board. Centralized things like that. Like, you're going to have to understand when you're producing large numbers in this deck that Kaijus allow you to basically just go for the cheese wins. And I mean the absolute cheesiest. Alright, so then we get to the fun stuff, the Mathmech Arenas. So, Adion, standard level 4, 1000, lets you target one face-up monster on the field, locks you into Cyberse for the rest of this turn, and then you get to special summon this guy from your hand. And if you do, that monster gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. And this guy can't attack during the turn it was special summoned by this effect. So basically what you're getting out of this is you're getting the ability to give another monster 1000 attack, OTK enablers, and getting the ability to special summon out more of these. These all basically have a unique effect that allows them to step through into the next guy, which is actually really cool for what they were trying to do with this deck, I think. But for this being one of the first Cyberse decks outside of, Salamangreat and the Marincess deck to actually get the chance to do more for the archetype, it's really interesting to see the interactions and things that you see with these, considering, Marincess builds up on their one boss monster. Same thing, actually, all the decks build up on their boss monster. Maybe that's the Cyberse way. Alright, then we have triple copies of Division. So you contribute one Cyberse monster you control in the extra monster zone. Get it? We're dividing it. Special summon up to one Cyberse level 4 monster each from your hand and graveyard. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, target one face-up monster on the field, have that monster's attack till the end of the turn. So basically, what you're telling me is I get to make my first early game play, which is my first monster, and then I can tribute it off, summon one from the hand and one from the graveyard, and then if this guy sends to the graveyard, I just get to half a monster's attack for no reason. Well, don't mind if I do. That seems really good, actually. Now, multiplier here. You can target one level 4 Cyberse monster you control. It becomes level 8, so you get heavier access to your finisher. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberse monster you control in the extra monster zone. Double its attack until the end of the turn. Well, if this guy comes out at 4,000, because I've set up my Sigma, my Adion, and I gave it an extra 1,000, I can double it to 8,000. Now, of course, you can only double it once per turn because you can only apply that effect once per turn. So that's pretty important to understand that you're not going to be able to stack multiples of these. Oh, I wish we could. Like, this deck could actually be good. Now we've got Nabla. So, Nabla, you contribute one Cyberse monster, special summon one Mathmech monster from your deck. Well, don't mind if I do. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberse monster you control in the extra monster zone. It can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. So, in a perfect world here, if I go Addion with multiplier, make this guy 8,000, it can attack twice over 2 monsters. I wish it could get a direct attack, but once again, you're building that boss monster to end the game for your opponent, and I think that this does a fantastic job at supporting that. Now, we have Sigma. So if you control no extra deck monsters while this card is in your hand or a graveyard, you can special summon it, but when it leaves the field, it gets banished. Okay, and then of course you get locked into Cyberse, which is fine. And then once per turn, if this card you control uses synchro material for a Mathmech, you can treat it as a non-tuner. So this actually kind of fixes some of the stray problems that I think a few players might have with this deck. They look at this and like, oh, tuners. Well, you can treat this as a non-tuner when you're, climbing into Magma, which is pretty cool. And then we have triple copies of Subtrust. So like Addion, you just target one face-up monster on the field, lock yourself into the Cyberse, and then if you do, that monster loses 1,000 attack until the end of this turn. So, hey, you get to bring out another monster. You get to combo extend. I mean, not a tuner, but what do we care about that? Like, you get the ability to climb ladders. And then we have one more stray kaiju, the Thunder King kaiju, just as a 33 body. If we need to extend through our own field, we can actually do so, which actually works quite well for this deck. Now, spells, we have triple copies of Signet Mining and one copy of Foolish Burial. And then we have triple copies of the Mathmech Divider Nayuta. So, we can only equip to a Cyberse monster. During damage calculation, the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster. You can send one Mathmech from your deck to the graveyard. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the sent monster's attack till the end of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. And if this card is sent from the spell and trap card zone in the graveyard, you get to add or target a Mathmech in your graveyard except for this card and add it back to your hand. So this acts as both an extender and an OTK extender, because you get to literally... Okay, so what we got here? We got 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 500, 1,500. Okay, we're always probably sending this guy. Division's extra 1,500 boost is really good. And then we play the one copy of the Mathmech formula. Just target one Mathmech monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If you do, it gains 1,000 attack. So having generic revival, okay, I'll take it. Traps, we have triple copies of Infinite Permanence. I've said this at the start of the deck profile. Protection, being able to play the game, is important. Same thing with why we're playing Red Reboot here. Your opponent's playing traps. You're an OTK deck. You can't let that happen. You have to main deck bag cards in order to play the game. Then we play triple copies of the Mathmech Super Factorial. So you target up to 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard with different names, and then activate one of these effects. So special summon them, but negate their effects, and immediately afterwards, you get to synchro summon, using those monsters as material, but they're shuffled into the deck instead of being sent to the graveyard. Or you can special summon them, negate their effects, and if you do, immediately Xyz summon. So you get to apply whichever... You have the 3s, you have the 2s, you know what you're doing with this. Down here in the extra deck, we have one Update Jammer for the OTK extenders, one copy of Underclock, one Transcode, one Trisbania, one Bomber Dragon, one Balinix, and the one copy of the Avermax. Then we have the 2 copies of Laplasan. So, if a Mathmech card you control be destroyed by a card effect, detach material from this card instead. This Xyz summon card is summoned, detach up to 3 materials and apply these effects. You can send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, send one monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, and send one spell and trap card your opponent controls to the graveyard. So you literally get to clear off 3 potential zones with this. And then, of course, you guys know Almatarion lets us search for a Mathmech, just for being Xyz summoned at 2. And then the Processor Sigma, it's 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner at 8. When this card destroys opponent's monster by battle, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls to destroy them. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by card effect, you get to add a Mathmech spell or trap card from your graveyard back to your hand. So we can recruit for any of these 3. And then the final Sigma, when this card in the extra monster zone, it is unaffected by card effects except for Mathmech cards. If this card in the extra monster zone battles an opponent's monster, any damage inflicted to your opponent is doubled. And then if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by the opponent's card effect, you can add one Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. So, the big thing with this, earlier we can go this guy, Go into multiplier, make it 6,000, battle over Kaiju. Congratulations. We just won the game because we dealt 4,800 to our opponent. Really cheesy, right? So guys, what do you think about Mathmechs? Please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And well, if you guys are playing this, best of luck. Peace. The ride never, well, truly ends. Thank you, patrons. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd be wearing in these videos. I might be a truffle shuffle incident all over again. Guys, please also check out VanCole40 for some awesome Vanguard content. Some other interesting stuff you might find up here on the left or in the description as well. Thanks for watching.